what are some ways you can look at this mentally? Being alone, probably more than you're used to, but keeping it as something people might choose versus it feeling something like a prison.
I think knowing that over thousands of years, many people have chosen to be alone, at least for set periods, so that they can find out what it is that really is important. And if you find yourself that all of a sudden it is imposed upon you to go off on, retreat, as if you were a monk in a cave or a nun, in a monastery, just knowing that this is something that has been praised in many cultures for a long time, and then that might not make it feel any better. But just knowing that this is part of, the greater history of humanity, is this period where people go, wait a minute, and they want to find out what's really important, so they just take that break. And something like prison, that's a fantastic, for some people, if it works, it's a great opportunity to look deeper. And I've known a few people who have been, in prisons and then taken up meditation, and it's totally transformed them, and they're now excellent teachers. And some people would say, well, all of life is basically a prison. It's just that
we don't notice.
you're not paying very close attention, but you're caught in the noose of time, and time to take a break.
And I think one of the things that comes up when we are isolated, or there's an imposed isolation, is this feeling that it is never going to end, that this is what it's going to be like forever. And in fact, when you think about it, if you get sick, or if you hurt your arm or break your toe or something, there's this phase in that injury where you think, oh, this has just ruined everything. It's always going to be like this. And so if you can remember that, in fact, this is not going to last forever, although it feels like it in many of the moments these days, that's one thing to bear in mind. And to also think about the fact that so many of us are there has been an underlying feeling for a long time that things are just going too fast, that with internet, with social media, with the way the technology is these days, there is never a moment there, if only we had more time in the day. And here we are, we've been delivered this phase where we're being asked to pause. And the habitual reflex is to say, well, I want it to be like it was. But in fact, was it perfect the way it was before? Is this an opportunity where you can, through the ability to see this isn't going to last forever, to look at what can you do in your own structure of your life, in your structure of your mind states, to set it up so that when, in fact, the lockdowns are starting to lift, you don't just jump right back in to something that may not have been as close to perfect as you could make it before, in jumping back into dysfunctional behaviors, relationships, etc. To really say, well, this is a time where maybe I can say, well, did I really want to be doing X, Y, and Z? And if not, what can I do now to set seeds within me that will support some of the changes that would be nice to aim at? So I think one of the things that we hear from students at this point is it feels like it is going to last forever. And it can feel like that. And just to know that that's the mind panicking. And so if you de-stress at that point and realize, whoa, this isn't going to last forever, that's helpful. At the same time, because so many of us are, our jobs are at risk, our relationships are shifting, etc., we want to be kind and compassionate and careful and recognize that this isn't necessarily saying this is an easy time, but this is an important time. And rather than wishing we were somewhere else, there's nothing we can do about that. So instead of wishing that it were over, to not squander the opportunities, even if they're very, very small, that we might be able to pull out of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting in crisis to watch your thoughts a little bit. So even if you can get a basic pause happening, how even in a state of extreme fear or anxiety, your mind is like still going up and down to maybe I'll try that or this and from like to or push pull, and you go happy sad. You're still going happy sad. It is with a fast frequency, even in a state of anxiety, and then so is everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow to see that, well, everybody else, even those that would never admit it, they also have this very deep dread of reality.
Mm-hmm.
That they're avoiding facing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.